Not a lot of vendors for opening day.
I think.
What is up, guys? Thank you for joining me on my first of what is hopefully many flea market adventure videos. The first gentleman I came across was a vendor I'd done business with many times in the past. He saw me walk up and said, "Hey, I got some stuff in the truck. It hasn't hit the tables yet. Let me pull it out for you." And that's always great when you can build a rapport with a vendor. He had a lot of newer stuff, 316 PC. While some people are looking for that, right now I am not. At the bottom of the box, he did have a GameCube with the Game Boy attachment, no CD. That's very important. Always look for it for the CD. That's where all the value is. And in addition to that, he had an N64. While I got together a small pile to check out, we couldn't come to an agreement on the price for the big bundle. I ended up managing to sneak the N64 away from him. While it does not have any audio-visual cables and no expansion pack, no controllers, the N64 I'm hoping to modify so it can play Japanese import games. I also want to see if I can do the HDMI output mod. While that's a tricky mod, I figure for the price of, I believe, 20 bucks, not the worst investment, and if I end up frying it, not a big deal. But again, it's always great when you can build rapport with vendors because I had first dibs, so if there had been something insane in there, I got it. But not every time you're going to find something extremely, extremely rare, but it's always great to look. You know that if there was anything good, it would have been yours. In addition to this, he had boxes of cables and a large box of manuals. Now the manuals, which you're going to see hopefully in a couple seconds, are some of my favorite things to dig through. Why? Because most vendors honestly don't care about the manuals. They don't check out their prices. They don't know what they have. I have found, $10, $20, $30 manuals for, a quarter, a dollar, $2. And that's kind of where you can find the real gems. Because if someone wants a complete in-box game, they're gonna have to have the manual. And as you see right here, he had a little bit of everything. He had some PS1, he had some GameCube, he had some PS2 era stuff, some handheld things, he had some posters, a lot of the filler stuff. And I believe he only wanted $2 a piece for anything in the box. Now, while, as you can see there, not everything is game related, that's okay because, boom, Virtual Boy. In the years I've been doing this, I have never found anything Virtual Boy really in the wild with the exception of the pack-in game, the Mario Tennis. And the fact that I found a manual and what ended up being 3 manuals total for $2 each, well, I couldn't say no to that. In addition to the Virtual Boy, I also found a Pokemon game manual. It's just the general manual, I believe, came with the red or blue games, but that's childhood. Again, $2. If someone's looking for a complete in-box copy, that's in high demand. So I'm going to be able to get, $5 or $10 at least in trade, and for the low price of $2. And while I may not always need it, I'll try and pick that stuff up because it is great bundle material. Now, I kept digging and digging and digging, but in all honesty, the only things I really found were the 3 Virtual Boy manuals and the Pokemon game. The rest of it was just stuff that, had nothing to do with my collection. There were a couple oddball decent things like the Pokemon Pinball, but I'm at a point in my career where I'm not quite looking to just buy for the sake of buying anymore. Now, this next vendor here, which you're about to see, he had a small pile of games he said he'd pull out for me to check out. Nothing too crazy, really, at all. He had a couple Game Boy Advance games, a couple random movies, games, computer games, and honestly, I just was looking through it for the sake of you never know. By the way, guys, always open these little handheld boxes. It's nothing great, it's only BattleBots, but hey, that's a game completely different than was advertised on that box, so you never know. Now, this guy is a good buddy because he always let me check stuff out, and you know what? I found Time Splitters 2. Not an insane game, but a game I didn't have, a game that had some slight interest, so picked it up, which is, it's a good day. It was another $2. Very clean, no scratches, no light leaks. Always check the disc for scratch and light leaks, guys. I've been burned once or twice before. Now, this next gentleman whose booth has some extremely shaky footage, I was already recording when I was walking up. I forgot to stop and ask, so I had to do it a little bit stealthily. He had some games laying out, nothing too exciting, but I did see this box of old stuff at the end. Now, these Atari and ColecoVision consoles, while pretty much beat up and I have zero interest in, that little mixer right there you see, that's something I'd never seen before. I was really excited to see that. And with any box of old Atari games, that can also lead to some awesome treasures. Not every Atari game is worth 50 cents. I have several Atari games worth $20, $30, $40. And they were always found on the table because no one ever thinks Atari's worth anything or that it's fun. But he had several games I was interested in, only 2 of which I never had. So I picked those 2 up, and I even managed to get the changer out there. And it was all extremely cheap and had not been picked through. So guys, can't stress enough. If you're looking for something neat to collect Atari, it's cheap, and all the hardcore game collectors always seem to skip over it, all the resellers. I mean, it's a no-brainer, guys. It's easy to hook up to the TV. It only takes a $7 part. So please, check it out, guys. Definitely check it out. Now, this is going to be the last voiceover section in this video. This gentleman had several very nice boxed Atari games. Now, I believe I had every single game here. And when I asked him the price of the games, he had said he wanted $8 individually, $15 for the Indy 500. Now, the only 2 games that really piqued my interest were Chopper Command and Keystone Capers, so those were the 2 I ended up picking up. I managed to talk him down from $8 to $5, so that's a total savings of $6, which absolutely cannot go wrong with. I was really excited to see them and shocked that they were still on the table.
It's been an Atari day so far at the Flea. Not a lot of vendors, but that's okay. Doing a secondary sweep, seeing what I can find. And I need to invest in a GoPro.
What is up, guys? It is Plug Ugly. I'm coming at you today with a few flea market pickups. Now, as you saw in the video, which again I apologize was not the greatest quality, I'm working with a cell phone right now instead of a GoPro. I went to 2 flea markets today, my 2 regular ones, and I was able to find a few things despite the extremely cold weather. At the first flea market I stopped by, I was able to find Time Splitter 2 on the original Xbox. This is a game I've not really heard much about. I just know that it's a relatively popular game series, so I figured I'd take a chance on it. It was $2, can't really go wrong. A couple of things you also saw me pick up were some game manuals. I was able to pick up a few that I had never seen before. Some for the Virtual Boy. I have Wario Land and Galactic Pinball. Virtual Boy has a very small library. I believe only 14 North American releases. So I imagine it will be a little desirable to have a couple of Virtual Boy manuals, especially if I ever pick one up or find someone who's going for the full collection. I also found a Pokemon game manual. Now, this is a game I have a lot of experience with. It's a childhood favorite. So I have a few of these already, but this is definitely going to be an upgrade for me. And at the next flea market you saw me wandering around, I actually found a couple of things I did not think I would find. The biggest one being this multi-tap for the Atari. Now, this is a third party. It's not Atari brand. But what this does is you can plug this into your Atari console, and you can have several games pre-connected. And there's a spot here for a couple extra ones that aren't connected, but if you want to do a quick change out, you simply power down your system, press whatever button you want, turn your system back on, and Bob's your uncle, you have the new game in. Now, this is extremely cool. I have my Atari hooked up to my HD TV, which a lot of people don't realize you can actually do nowadays. So I like to play with it every once in a while, so this is extremely cool. I really hope this works. I haven't tested it yet. But I also got with it Bugs and River Raid. So this entire package here was $15, and you just can't go wrong with that, especially if it works out. And the next finds I had, you saw the gentleman with a lot of boxed Atari games. I picked up 2 games, Keystone Capers and Chopper Command. I have both these games loose, but the boxes, with the exception of a little bit of fading on the top, are in pretty awesome shape. He wanted $8 originally each. I got them for $5 each. Now, that's about all they're worth. It's really cool that they have the boxes and that the carts are in pretty decent shape. Atari games just don't have a huge demand. I'm probably the only person I know of in my age bracket that actually plays Atari games. So they're really cheap and usually plentiful. Now, I kept finding little nods to video games having been there earlier. An oddball copy of a really cheap NES cartridge. You know, a Super Nintendo game here or there, nothing special. And a few vendors even said they had games, but they had sold them already. So there's a lot of people hunting for the main big titles, like the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, all that good stuff. But the oddball stuff, the stuff that's not in high demand, like the Atari, that stuff is usually left behind. So even though I was late to the party, I still managed to find some extremely cool things. Now, I'm actually going to be leaving in about 20 minutes to go see a friend of mine, Mr. 80s. He is a flea market vendor, I believe, in Massachusetts. And I've done business with him several times before. He gets some amazing things in. And he sent me a message saying, hey, I got a lot of cool stuff in if you want to swing by. So I got permission to film already. Again, the video may not be the greatest ever, but it's going to be pretty exciting to see what he can scrape up. He already has a few games set aside for me, so if he says what he's got is going to blow me out of the water, I am very excited to see. What is up, guys? It is Plug Ugly. I'm coming at you from Mr. 80's Video Game Connection. He's booth 107, 108 in the Random Flea Market in Massachusetts. We are not currently at the flea market, but this is his home away from home, his actual home, and he's invited me to come check out a few of his recent pickups. So let's get to digging, guys. By all means, check him out on Facebook. Give him a phone call. Stop by. I've done business with him before. Great guy. Phenomenal collection. You will find stuff you have never seen before. So let's start digging. A couple very nice NES games. Got Metal Gear, some Yoshi, Zelda, Simon's Quest. Ooh, Ikari Warriors. I don't think I have that one yet. Got some Super here. Don't know why my light decided to give out. Ooh. I'll add that to the collection if I can. Here we have some games he's already set aside for me. Starshot, one I've been looking for a long time. We have a Virtual Boy here. Never seen one in person. Probably the gem of the collection right here. I've never gotten to see an NES prototype cart. This is Kid Clown. This is a highly documented and traveled cart. It says Fighting Golf, but that's because the Kid Clown prototype was actually put in it. I can't afford a standard Kid Clown cart, let alone this beauty. I will never, ever get to see this again. Ooh. Been looking for that one for a while. Speaking of Kid Clown, we got one on the Super. Some nice boxed NES games. 3DO games. Some very nice box systems. I really want that box. Not the Box Genesis, the Box Sega Master System. Some nice Sega CDs. Some very cool Dreamcast. That Phantasy Star Online. Some very cool Xbox One, PS4 titles. And here's some games he literally just bought before I got here. I have not gotten to look at these at all. Timon Pumbaa.
that looks cool. That looks fun. Might have to pick that up just for the cover art. Ooh. The educational game. Very cool. Very cool. Fun game, childhood favorite. And now, guys, I cannot stress this enough. This is just a taste of the stuff he has. I've seen his booth. Goodness gracious, this is not even close to everything he has. And he has this type of quality everywhere. So check him out, booth 107, 108.
What is up, guys? This is Plug Ugly. I am back from seeing my friend Mr. 80s, the Game Connection, out of booths 107, 108 in the Random Flea Market in Massachusetts. Now, this is a guy I've been doing business with for a few years now. Really awesome guy. And as you saw in that video, wow. The stuff he has is insane. I mean, not only did he have a prototype NES cart, Kid Clown, I never would have thought ever that I'd see something like that and get to put my hands on it. That is insanely cool. That's the type of stuff he has in all the time. I mean, even if you don't end up buying anything, you got to go and check out his booth because he has some insanely rare stuff. As a game collector, you'll just lose your mind over. So like I said, check him out. Real awesome guy. I did end up doing quite a bit of business with him. I have a few goodies here that I'm going to show you. So let's get right into it. So the Master System. A system I enjoy, one of the few Sega systems I'm really into. First here we have a Fantasy Zone, The Maze. This is a game I'm going to do a little bit of playing with you guys later on at some point on the channel. Just one of those kind of fun, goofy games. As you see here, it is complete. So that's cool, that's fun, that's exciting. And if you were not excited enough for that, Fantasy Zone 2. So another one of those games I just kind of got on the whim. Manual's a little janky, but again, complete. So that's a sweet thing to have. Rampage. This is a game where you basically just beat up an entire city as a monster. You get to be the one going on the rampage. No manual, but that's okay. Rampage is on several systems, including the N64, which, as you can see behind me, I have oodles and oodles of. I have Rampage 2, not Rampage 1, so this is going to get my Rampage fix. Here we have, and I don't know if I'm going to say this right, Considon. This is a game I had never really heard about until he told me he had. And I did a quick Google search. It looked really cool. Basically, it looks like a action RPG. So if I have some time, maybe you guys will see this on the channel. I have a lot of games over my shoulder that are going to wind up on this channel. Transbot. This is the last Master System game I got today. It's one of the few card games for the Master System. So not only did they do cartridges, they did these little cards. Just slide it in like the TurboGrafx. Very cool. This is my second card game for the Master System. So we'll have some fun with that. And let's dive into some Super Nintendo goodness here. Earthworm Jim 2. This was in the box of games he had that was that was brand new. I met up with him at 9 at night. He'd pick this stuff up at 7:30, so I was the first person to get to look through this. And Earthworm Jim 2 is a game I've actually been looking for. I had a chance to buy it complete in box last summer, but it was just too janky for the price I wanted. This is in pretty nice shape, so that's a great one to add to the collection. Mario is Missing. Not necessarily a fun game. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Angry Video Game Nerd. Awesome channel. He did a review on this game. It's kind of a crappy game, but you know what? I couldn't pass it up. So that's a cool one to have. Mario's Time Machine. Another one of those games I really didn't know anything about. I just saw it and figured, hey, that's going to be something interesting. Good, bad, I don't know, but I'll give it a try. And lastly, this is a game I traded actually for. You remember the virtual manuals I showed you probably about 2 minutes ago in this video now? He had a nice Virtual Boy there, something I would have loved to have, but realistically just wasn't in the budget today. He could have used those manuals to help increase the value of his little bundle, so I did some trading, and I got a game I had as a child, and surprisingly have not found since then. Wing Commander. This is a game myself, my brother, my cousin, we spent many hours on, and, you know, it's not really a valuable game. It's probably $7-8 realistically, but it's a game that I've been wanting, and I can use this game a lot more than some manuals, and it's in very nice shape. So I was happy to do that. I bought those manuals smart, and I traded and got something I could use out of it. Now this is something that's going to go right in that shelf over my shoulder. A small stack of N64 games. I'm slowly but surely going for the complete library, and I am very close as is. I believe I was 50 cartridges away going into this trade, and I'm even closer now. Now I'm sad to say that deciding to do these pickup videos has come pretty late in my collection. If you guys watched my initial playthrough of Gomon, I've mentioned that I've already got a lot of the big 5 games. You know, I got the Sculptor's Cut, I got the Worms Armageddon, Bomberman Second Attack, I got Super Bowling, Stunt Racer. I have a lot of the stuff that people watch these videos hoping you come across. And I'm sad to say I can't I can't recreate that. But you guys can help me try and finish this out. So, Charlie's Blast. That was a... Charlie Blast, not Charlie's Blast. Pardon me. This is a game that's actually eluded me. I've seen it posted on Facebook Marketplace back when I had Facebook. I've seen it around a couple people having at the flea markets, having bought it just out from under me. And I was pretty excited to see it, you know, right there in the pile of games. Very nice condition, so that's a good one to have. Micro Machines. Now, label is obviously not great, but this is a game I don't particularly care for. I'm not saying it's not a good game, it's just not a game I'm excited for. But I have a box for this game, an empty box, so that'll go in there. So happy to have it. Cruisin' Exotica. Now, there's a fun little story with me in this game. I had 2 of these at one point, and I was purging all my duplicate N64 stuff, and I'm talking there was a ton of games. If someone posted a lot of like 20-30 games and I only needed 1 or 2 of them, the price was right. I would buy the lot, sell all the games that I didn't need, and make my money back and get the games for essentially free. So I did that, and somehow both of my copies of this game wound up in the for sale pile. Same guy bought them both. He was a reseller. And yeah, I pulled a dum-dum. So now I righted that wrong, and I got Cruisin' Exotica. And this last N64 game is the one I'm excited for the most. Starshot. This game is supposedly a really fun game, and I've been looking for this game forever. I mean, forever. And I just have not come across it in person. And it is a super minty cartridge. This is a game he was actually debating on keeping, but I managed to weasel it away from him. This game you guys will definitely see on the channel. I cannot wait to play it. So if you want to see this game played through, just stay in there. Eventually I'll get to it. And I got a couple other, well, one other thing really. The Banjo-Kazooie Strategy Guide. Banjo-Kazooie is a game I've had since I was young. Actually, on that shelf back there is my childhood copy of Banjo-Kazooie. It's a game I absolutely adored, and I have so many memories of, like, I remember being scared of this shark in Banjo-Kazooie. But I have the strategy guide now, and back then, I was so young, we didn't know about strategy guides. We didn't look stuff up online. If we wanted to know about something, you talked about it at the playground, you learned it from the kids who had been there and done that, or you just kept playing and running around in circles. And that was so insanely cool when you figured something out. I mean, back then, I would I would have done so many wild things to get my hands on a strategy guide back then. And this is super clean. I saw that in the pile, and I don't know if I'll ever actually use it, but just to have it, flip through the pages, it's worth throwing on the shelf, guys. So that's my pickups from Mr. 80s. Absolutely, again, guys, check him out. So I'm hoping to get a GoPro so you guys won't have to deal with my shaky phone camera footage. But bear with me for now. Hopefully I'll be able to bring you guys along, show you some really awesome pickups. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. All right? Have a good one.